Yes, hello and welcome along to another edition of the Irish Rally Podcast, this time in association with SVS Productions. We are looking back at the Moonraker Forestry Rally in Ballyvorney last weekend. We're going to cover a good bit of ground on the programme. We're going to speak with Jim Murphy, the COC of that event. We're also going to chat to Mossie Costello, winner of the J1000s there. We'll speak to Ryan Caldwell. We're going to speak to Larry O'Shea, who's going to give us a flavour of what it was like down there. He's also going to chat to us about, very briefly, looking ahead to the Cork Forestry Rally. And also, Larry is involved as PR for the Stonethrowers Rally. So we're going to have a bit of a chat with him about that as well. And Mr. Anthony Nestor is going to give us a whistle-stop insight into timing from things on the other side of the fence. So we'll kick things off, and firstly we're going to hear from Mossy Costello. Now on the Irish Rally Podcast, I'm joined by Mossy Costello, winner below in Ballyvorney last Saturday at the Moonraker Rally in the J1000s. Dramatic circumstances, Mossy. An interesting day to say the least. You made inroads coming towards the latter part of it. You hung in there, and ultimately you got the win. You must have been delighted.
Yeah, it was a great into the weekend, but it was hard luck on Jack and John on the last days, but it was kind of interesting to be told at the side of the road. But no, it was a tough rally, and most important was to get through the last stage, and that was just a bonus on top of it.
Yeah. What was the thought process going into the last stage then? Were you like, I kind of have to keep this together, or what was the, you know what I mean?
Well, I know I couldn't back off too much, and I couldn't go mad altogether, so it was kind of a 50-50.
Yeah, you got the balance right anyway, but I'm sure, is it pure relief afterwards? Were you leaping around the place? What were you actually like in the moment?
I don't know really, just kind of more delighted.
Yeah, you take it all in your stride anyway. I know from chatting to you previously, that's type. Yeah, you're fairly easy going, and whatever it is like you're just kind of happy. You're happy to be there, even though you are competitive. Like you're all with the punches. You're that type of lad.
Yeah, I just tip away.
Yeah,
I know it was nice out of it.
Yeah. The whole J1000 thing in general, I think this is probably, I know we lost a bit of time with COVID and that, but was 2019, I think, when you dipped into this first?
Yeah, I did 2 rallies in 2019. The Moonraker was my first ever rally, and Cork Forestry then. Yeah.
So given the fact that was your first rally back then, did that make it a bit more special than last Saturday?
Yeah, it was a very good known for us. It was kind of special in one way that it was only my second time ever doing it, and to win it then was just topped it all off.
Yeah, and you forever associate that now with a good thing, irrespective of what happens from here on out. So the whole thing in general, we're the whole time saying how good it is, but it is so good, like the experience you've gained. And I imagine in the last 3 years, you've seen a good bit of differences maybe in yourself, and you've probably learned a good bit. What do you think you have learned in that space of time?
Well, more car control and higher speeds and able to adjust to different weather conditions and just simple little things like tire pressures and all that kind of crack.
Yeah, and all this does come with time, of course. Now, I suppose there's a friendly word of advice coming from Jason there as well. No stranger to Irish rallying circles, been involved for a long time. So, I'm sure, like all father and son relationships, that can be both a help and a hindrance at times, depending on what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he may or may not be there beside you. I don't know if you want to pan the camera across. Maybe we shouldn't actually, and we won't say where he is either, because that could be all under wraps and under big top secret. But obviously, it meant a lot to him as well.
Yeah, well, we're currently on the way down from getting his escort mapped to ready to go for Mandela on Monday for the visually impaired zero limits.
Good stuff. Yeah. No, I didn't know whether that was top secret now, that mission you were on or not. So There you go. I didn't want to be the one to say what was going on, but in general, then from your point of view, obviously next up is the Cork Forestry Rally. You're in a pretty good position now in this championship as well.
Yeah, well, we were looking at the points, and provisionally I've taken the lead on it. Well, not sure, like, but by my own maths I have anyway. And there's one or 2 points going into the last round in Cork, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Well, listen, I know you're on the move there, and I appreciate you taking the call while you're on the move. And while the internet is holding up, we probably won't chance it any further. So all I can say is well done again, and the best luck in a few weeks' time, all right?
Thank you.
Now on the Irish Rally Podcast, I'm delighted to welcome along my co-host for the Tarmac Championship events, Mr. Anthony Nestor. Anthony is no stranger to forestry events either, but in fairness, Anthony, I think, well, we're used to seeing you in action as a navigator, and I don't know what would we say about the stint or the attempted stint as a COC. Last weekend brought a different kind of a challenge. So talk to us about that and give us your insights.
I don't think you can ever call me a COC. I never made the grade, I'm afraid. Every time I tried, it fell asunder. So that's
lads,
not
hey, come here. Lads often call you things beginning with C, but we won't get into that.
I have no doubt I'm called. I think I was reading some article last night about some fella a lot wiser than direct and say what they think. You either love them or hate them. It's a bit like that drink, Bovril or one of them, isn't it? It's you either love or people. You either think it's great or you think it's a disaster. Mind you, I must say it was. I suppose heartwarming is the best word for it. A lot of people at the forestry said, "Oh yes, we listen to your podcast," and I'm coming off the line saying, "What are you listening to? That's shite for It's surely to God we're not that interested." Good looks anyway. But I must say, it was. It's like any little thing you do. It's interesting. I would recommend it for any co-driver of any level. Like, to be fair, I got trained up in the morning, and I had known the guys, to be fair, and it only took 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. But it's interesting to see how it works, and it's really, really simple. Like, to be fair, now it is well managed. It's. I was interested to see it, but anybody else, people, they struggle, especially for co-drivers. They seem to want to run a mile from it. Man, it's the simplest thing. You need no keyboard skills. Even the most basic co-driver knowledge is a massive help to them because of the way a co-driver is wired and the way you think. But it was just. And I would advise do it on a gravel event because obviously it's minute intervals, so you have more time. But literally your input from every car takes less than 10 seconds, and you have time to. And there's even an online system within the admin of the page, which in this case is Ian Gassili, but it's a bit like Toto Wolff's board. I have people that I can talk to, so. If I miss a car or something happens that is out of my control, and I don't know the people's names, but I can see who's at the end of the next stage, and I can literally, as I'm looking at the screen, send a message direct to them. I miss car such, can you pick it up for me? Which I never realised could happen. But yeah, a few things I noticed, I suppose, from the competitor's point of view. It would surprise you the amount of people that hand out a sheet of paper and don't put the time card on it. Their competitor number on it. That kind of surprised me. The only advice I'd give there and to be fair, look, it's probably in some of the junior classes, so I shouldn't be critical. But I suppose the best advice I would give for any co-driver listening to this today is when you get your time cards the night before the rally or the morning before the rally or whatever the case may be, go away to a quiet place, go in, lock yourself into the hotel toilet if that's what it takes for 2 minutes. And instead of reading the newspaper, just get your time card out, sign it, and write your car number on the whole lot of them.
Save time later on in the day.
Waiting to do all that. So that's the best advice. Yeah. The other thing that just surprised me as well, a lot of cars would pull up with us and they would wait a minute, and they were calculating, and I know what they were doing. They were, in most cases, they were calculating their stage time, which is fine. I do it myself. But there's actually no need. When you look at the system, it doesn't look for stage time. I put in the start time and the finish time. So just a bit of advice for people when you're pulling up at the control. There's no need to work out the stage time because Sandero doesn't want it. They have no use for whatsoever. And some people may be working out their time to go to the next stage. Again, irrelevant. Just literally pull up and catch the sheet of paper and throw it out the window. Purely because even if you're working out, all they're handing out is a counterfile. You have the main time card still, so you're only handing out a photocopy of what has happened, or the original copy. You still have a copy to continue and calculate your stage time and work out your time to the next control and all that kind of malarkey. Just literally catch the top out, throw it out the window. You're no worse off than you were before you give it away, because all the information you just handed out, you have it on a photostat copy in front of you anyway. So, but yeah, there was only a couple of things that I picked up on. In fact, there's no need. A lot of people handed out the whole time card book. They seem to be a little bit confused, so we tried to help some of those guys. There's no need to hand it all out. Just give us out the very top sheet that you're working on, and continue on your way. Mind you, I came upon a great idea, and I got a free breakfast actually, which was a great start to the day down in Ballyvourney. I went and I met our former colleague Tommy Command from the hit Garda from the Killarney event, and his driver Hal Lewis. Now, if you ever met a wise man from Limerick, this is a wise man. And he had such a simple idea, and he said to me, "I'll tell you," he says, "and sure, look, get it out there and get people talking about it." And the idea was so simple. I went, wow, you know, I said, it's always the best ideas are the simplest ones. See, in the tracking system, there's two bugbears of every competitor in the country. One is their seeding, and the other is bloody chicanes or catching cars. And the seeding and the catching cars is related, and obviously the chicanes are their own. They're a problem in themselves. But as regards to catching a cars, I thought it was such a simple idea. He said that if you look in Formula One, which I only realised the other day that you're very familiar with Formula One. If you look at Formula One, what do they do when Hamilton is catching Verstappen or vice versa? Blue flag. The blue flags are waved. You get 3 blue flags, and you get a 5-second penalty or a 10-second penalty or whatever the case may be. Why not have a green? So when a car comes within 100 meters of you, I don't even know is this possible now. So maybe it's a one I will try and find out before the next podcast. We might get on to Terry or the Rally 4 people or Rita or someone that's in the know of this. So if a car comes within 100 meters of you from behind, that a blue, obviously the siren everyone is familiar with, and it doesn't have to ring for too long. A thing goes off on the car, and there's a blue light flashing. Just an idea. I liked it. It was it's such a simple idea. And that was my day. It was a great. I thought it was great for a club that were able to, like, they're running their I suppose it's a flagship event. I suppose you'd have to call it their flagship event. Only in a couple of weeks again, so they were able to run the Moonraker Forestry down at Ballyvourney, and it's pretty much the same club. It is the same club, much the motorcycle car club, and they're back running their flagship event again in a couple of weeks, which is, to be fair, it's, without knocking other events, the organisation and the attention to detail now would be a lot better than, let's just say, some of the other ones we've met, even ones in the recent weeks. This would be a far better put together piece of kit, like. And I think it's ran, I see the rigs were out there last week or the week before, it's ran around the Rathcormac area. So, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a good day out.
Yeah, that's obviously only a few weeks away. Like, yeah, as you said, running 2 events like that in the space of a month is a big undertaking. And just while I have you as well, you're not going to be idle yourself over the next few weeks. I've seen the entry for the Stonethrowers, but I also saw the entry for the Down Rally. And I'd say there's no weekend really, or rare weekends that you're not involved in something, is there, in fairness?
I know, but Stuart and I are going to do the Down Rally. We're trying to organise a bit of a test after I think Owen and I might do a test next week. We'll do the Stonethrowers and the Cock 20. So I've it's not as mad as it looks. I've cut it well back. Normally I would do kind of 15 to 20 events a year, but it's back to about half of it this year. I think I'm not. I just don't have the time to put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only do that. You can do 50 for 2 or 3 years, but then you need to step back because you can continue through life being away half the year. So it's just the way it worked out this year, but I've done a lot of studying and that. That is fitting in, but I won't be able to sustain that. Looking forward to the Citroen. Haven't been in a Citroen before. On paper, I think it's an amazing piece of kit. Looking forward to spinning it. I think we're going for a run next week, and there's a lot of people to get this car to where it is now. Looking forward to that, and obviously the down rally would be Stuart's local rally. That's going to be a bit of fun. We're just trying to still work on setup of that car. That car isn't where, let's just say, we like it to be. It's just, I think these cars, it's a bit like the Formula 1 in ways. Each driver likes a different setup. So you could put 10 drivers into the same car and you might get 20% like it and 80% hate it, or vice versa. So it's a case of trying to get the setup in such a way that it does what you feel. So it'll be interesting.
Yep. Well, listen, the very best luck, and thanks for joining us for a little whistle stop tour.
Not a bother. Talk to you.
Now on the Irish Rally podcast, I'm joined by Jim Murphy, the COC of the Moonraker Forestry Rally in Ballyvorney last Saturday. Jim is going to go down through class winners with us, and he's also going to give us a general synopsis of how the event went. So there was a number of talking points, obviously, Jim, but from an organisational point of view, what was your thoughts now that we have had almost a week, I suppose, at this stage to dissect everything?
From an organisational point of view, it went very well for us. All our team out there were very pleased with it, and I was quite chuffed actually by the number of drivers and navigators that gave me the thumbs up and said well done while I was at the finish ramp. So that bode well for it. And the general consensus since the rally has been that very easy going. The service crews had an hour to fix anything inside in each service, which was a big plus. Rally office, the girls in the rally office, they treated everybody very well apparently. So the general consensus is it was well run and it put together. But that's not thanks to me. It's thanks to our club, Munster Car Club, who put it together. It's a club rally. I'm just the name that's on the top of the sheet of paper.
Yeah, I suppose that's the whole all of it. It is a team effort, as we said time and time again about these events. But it needs good leadership as well, so not to be taken away from yourself. Before we go into the class winners, like the stories and times, like Patrick O'Brien going toe to toe with Keith Cronin, especially, was an interesting one early doors, and Ryan Caldwell, who we're going to speak to on the program here, second two-wheel drive, which was phenomenal. A class winner as well. There's a little spoiler for people. And it's not too long since he was in Donegal, and not too long since he's out rallying in general. So I suppose there's a few bits and bobs and stories like that did kind of creep up. Mossie Costello, another guest on the podcast, taking a late dramatic win, I suppose, in the J1000. So like everything, there's always big stories like that.
Oh, there is. And again, you mentioned Patrick O'Brien. Patrick was actually the fastest car on SS1. That's a fair achievement for him.
Yeah,
he was the fastest car on SS1. Again, he put up a good fight with Keith Cronin. I spoke to Keith after the event, and he was very pleased with it. He said it was a great test for his upcoming BRC challenge, which was good to hear. He said the stages gave him bits of everything he needed to test the car and get it as good as he could.
And credit to Patrick, I suppose, there as well. So hit us up with these class winners then.
Right, starting with Class 2, Ryan Caldwell, winner of Class 2. Class 4, PJ O'Connor. Class 6, Jordan Hone. Class 9, Seamus McHugh. Class 10, Mike Garrity. Class 11F, Michael Fitzgibbon. Class 11R, Shane McKenney. Class 12, Donald Connolly. Class 13, Hugh McDade. Class 14, Mickey Conlon. Class 15, Matt Murphy. Class 20, Derek Mackerel. And Class 21, Mossy Costello.
I'm on the last stage.
And yes, again, on the last stage, Mossy won it actually on the last stage. There was drama on the last stage for the leader. And Mossy won it, which was a good achievement for him.
Mm-hmm. Now, from your own point of view, with Munster Car Club, there's no rest for the wicked, as the fella said. The Car 20 is only 3 weeks away, so you're just about getting over one, probably not even fully over one, and you're in the middle of planning the other already, and it is hectic. So, yeah, that's a big drain on resources and on energy reserves as well.
It is, but again, it's just the way the calendar fell for us, and we split our resources into two. One half of us did the Moonraker, and as soon as that was over, which was last Saturday evening, we started into working on the Cork 20 as soon as that was over. So the guys that had been working it, there's a lot of work done, but as I said to you already, Liam Hayes and myself have been out marking the roads for the last couple of days. So finish one, start the next one.
That's it. All for the love of us, as you.
All for the love of it.
Jim, really good chat to you on the Irish Rally podcast. Thanks for taking the time out, and all the best with the Car 20 as well. All right.
Thank you very much.
Now on the Irish Rally podcast, I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan Caldwell, who I suppose conjured up one of the results of last weekend down in Ballyvorney in the Moonraker. Second two-wheel drive, class winner, and 9th overall, I think. So, yeah, pretty sweet evening and afternoon and morning and day in general, I suppose.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we had a great run in the Moonraker show we had. We actually took a wee bit to get back into the forest. You know yourself, we done tarmac all year, but hey, we're happy with the result. We're over the moon with that.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I mean, could you foreseen that sort of day panning out before you stepped in behind the wheel?
No, I didn't. Hey, I knew it was going to take a wee bit getting back into the thing, especially coming from tarmac. We have done tarmac all year, the Irish Tarmac Championship. Our last rally was 5 Mile Town up in up just outside Omwe,
Yeah.
No, hey, it was definitely good. So it was definitely somewhere else.
So, an interesting one that I wanted to throw out there, because I know that the background, there's a drifting background there as well. So, when it comes to tarmac rally and when it comes to drifting and forestry, is forestry somewhat of a happy medium just because of the loose nature of it?
Yeah, it is actually. Hey, it's actually more enjoyable. I would actually enjoy the forest more. I like the tarmac as well, but the tarmac just you have that much more grip. There's that much more pace, and obviously you don't want to carry the slide whenever you're going that much harder. But it's where in the forest, I actually like the car sliding better. So it would actually suit me better. Is where the drifting we're always sliding. So
yeah,
no, brilliant. Hey, definitely enjoy it.
Yeah. I would have thought that. That's why I kind of asked the question, just out of curiosity to see what the story was like. But this year then in general, you're not long at this rally in Crack, but yeah, as you said, you've been busy and results haven't been too bad either.
No, hey, the results is actually they're good. Hey, thank God. But now we're flying. Hey, we're getting on well. So we're definitely. And Grace there sits with me. She's a big help. She's around the rally in a long time. Is where that's my first year rallying. So. No, we're happy with the results too.
Yeah, I suppose that the relationship is so important to have that right, and to have someone there that's going to keep you calm in all of this and keep you grounded, I suppose too.
Yeah, no, Grace keeps me right in the car, and the Brian's R317, Frank and Kevin, and then you have Patrick O'Brien. He rallies as well. He actually was second overall at that rally. But hey, they all keep me right, so they do.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick, in fairness, we were remarking upon it in the programme about the tussle with Keith, and geez, what can we say about Keith that hasn't been said already? And fair play to Patrick. And I had a good chat with him actually, though, in Carrigan Shore, and another man going places.
No, he's a brilliant driver. So yes, definitely, he's a good driver.
Yeah. So I suppose in terms of what's coming next for you, I'll have to ask the question. What is coming next? You have a good bit on this year, as I said. You've been busy. Jesus, there's nearly a weekend ago. There hasn't been a weekend going by now that you haven't been at something. So what's happening?
Now we're going back to Irish Tarmac again. We're doing the Cork 20. We're actually just finishing off the Irish Tarmac Championship, and we're going to do the Irish Forest Championship as well. So we might do an odd national round maybe at the end of the year, after the Forest Championship. But it was a busy start to the year. Hey, we started off from Galway with a Class 1, and we wanted to try and keep it up, so we had to get a bit of seat time in.
Mm-hmm. So, just looking at the timeline of that, then you're going to be spending a good bit of time in Cork, obviously, anyway. But between last week and a couple of more, but that's going to be a tasty one. In terms of getting everything together, logistics and all, it's always something that I like to delve into, and going from one spec to another and different things. Bringing all that together. I often think to myself, how can lads do it? How do lads have the patience to do it? It is a serious team effort, isn't it? In fairness,
I know, very serious team effort. Rallying, so it is. From the Brians keep my car, they run the car, and they do everything to the car. It's first class job as usual, so it is, always is. Yeah. But all I have to do is show up at the day, and then the car is ready.
Yeah, well, you're doing your job fairly well too. So listen, keep it up. Thanks for jumping on with us and having the quick chat. Looking forward to following your progress, and keep her lit. All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Now on the Irish Rally podcast, we are renewing acquaintances with Mr. Larry O'Shea, who we worked with down in Carrigan Shore for the Woolley Loughlin Rally. Larry, great to chat to you once again on the Irish Rally podcast. How's things with you?
All good, Kevin. Sure, delighted to be back as well. Delighted to be back in contact. All is well. Motor club is going well. Life in general is all good. Leaving cert is done. We're all happy.
Good lad. Yeah, the last day I think I was down with you. You were doing your Irish Oral, so yeah, a few sighs of relief since then. So I know you're doing a bit of PR for the Stonethrowers Rally, which of course is coming up next weekend, and we will chat about that. But first, we're going to go back to Ballyvourney last Saturday, and you were down there. Obviously, you got a draw for the forestry. What did you make of proceedings? Did you enjoy your day?
Yeah, I thought a very, very good event. I suppose it's almost got to the stage with myself where it's unusual to be a spectator, normally competing or somewhere involved in organisation. So nice to kind of relax and to go on. Not that you wouldn't always enjoy an event, but to not have any responsibility was actually nice for once. Yeah,
that's it, and throw off the shackles. And you saw how good of a start Patrick O'Brien made in particular, and Keith Cronin, everyone was expecting him to walk it. And we want to wish Keith and Mikey the very best, obviously, this weekend in the BRC, where they're going ever so well. But there was some standout moments like that, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. There was good battles all around. I suppose after Patrick won our own Forest Rally above in Carrick, you would be hoping to see him kick on and do something similar. Unfortunately, just not to be for Patrick, but I've no doubt he'll be back again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose points on the board. That's what it's all about. I know, Jack Brennan, we had a great chat with him. Things didn't turn out too good for him. Mossie Costello was obviously a guest on the podcast here, and obviously delighted, and he kept in the hunt. You know what I mean? And what's the old saying? One man's sorrow is another man's joy. But the J1000s is proven to be very, very popular, and it was one of the big talking points as well last weekend to emerge.
Well, I suppose the strong entry in the J1000 is so encouraging from the point of view of rallying going forward, that we now have certainty that there is a future in our sport, which, to be honest, before COVID, it didn't look great. The entries were dying out a bit, but to see all the young people coming on, and sure, like Jack Brennan being a club member, delighted to see him pushing on and leading the championship, and he was leading this rally up to a mistake on the last stage, but that being said, you couldn't begrudge Mossy a win. Like, a lovely fella. You just couldn't be any happier for him.
Really sound guy. Really enjoyed chatting to him on the episode. So look, before we kind of move on to next weekend, we should give, I suppose, a bit of a shout out to Cork Motor Club and the Jim Walsh, obviously, which will be the next round of the Forestry Championship. And as we've said, there is some big battles. Things are tight in the classes, and always a very good event. The Jim was. I actually remember being at it years upon years ago. It wasn't too far away from the Mother's home place, and isn't it amazing? I think we've remarked upon it before several times that so many people have such a graw for the forestry. So many people have such a graw for the tar. There's a Venn diagram of people who like both, but there's diehards in both corners that they wouldn't do a tar event, and likewise, some lads wouldn't do a forestry event. It's I always thought that was a mad one. Like,
I know so many lads who would have been hardcore tarmac men, wouldn't have ever touched forestry, and then the same fellas have gone into the forest and they haven't come out of it since. Like, they just they're mad for it.
Yeah, and that's nothing to do with bad phone reception. Yeah,
not to do with bad phone reception or the poor navigators.
Yeah, but no, that's the way it is. But look, it's not different. Across the pond, as the fella said. But yeah, so that's the story. We're looking forward to that, and obviously after that event we will have a podcast as well. We've kind of just vaguely dipped in and out of the national stuff. There was a podcast done obviously after the Carlos Stages rally, and a build up in, I suppose, ahead of that as well. But while we have you here, as we said earlier, you are involved from a PR point of view with the Stonethrowers rally, and haven't seen the unseeded entry list. Wow, that's all I can say.
Yeah, so really, with the Tipperary Motor Club being the noisy neighbours of ourselves down in Carrick, we do try to give them a hand, because in fairness, they give us a hand, and as you know, motorsport is heavily reliant on volunteers. But I'm delighted really to be asked to give a hand. I think it remarks well for me and for you as well that we've done a good job with the PR above in Carrick. But like you said, a real good strong entry. I'll be doing the event myself, navigating with Pascal O'Shea in a class 14 BMW, but good stiff competition in every class. I think they said something like 17 or 18 or 5 cars as well.
Yeah, tasty. Looking forward to getting back into the action, yeah?
Looking forward, yeah. A long absence, really. We weren't out since Wexford last year, and sure, it is nice to be involved in running events and that, but really we're all into rallying for the same thing, to be out there and to actually be on the stages.
Mm-hmm. And having the crack of stuff. So I suppose like every event this year, there is obviously a demand for marshals. They are scarce, they are thin on the ground. So contact details, I suppose, for anyone that wants to give a dig out. How can they get in touch with the club? Well, see, the format they're running is the traditional national rally, 3 stages, 3 times, with 110 stage kilometres. So there's a big draw there for marshals. Like, it is a lot of kilometres. But really, I suppose anyone who does want to get involved in marshalling, all they have to do is go to the Tipperary Stonethrowers Rally Facebook page, which is actually Tipperary Stonethrowers Rally 2022. And if you just scroll the second or third most recent post, you'll see they have meeting points and contacts for the marshal on every stage. So anyone who wants to help at all, it's all there on their Facebook. Mm-hmm. I think there's someone there in the background I can hear. Sounds like they need a bit of help as well at the moment. that's the choice of you, but yeah. Me poor driver is. He's after entering the building. Does he doesn't want to say hello as well, does he? No. You can say hello if he wants. Yeah. Go say hello. Look, that's the choice of it. Does he even know you're doing this? Yeah. He's popping in. No. Well, what's the story, Pascal? How are you keeping? He can't hear you. He can't hear you. You have the cans on. But anyway, nice little impromptu joining of the call there. But The best luck to both of you, Larry, and thanks for joining us once again here. All right.
Yeah, just the final point on the lads above in the Stonethrowers before we were interrupted there. They're running their scrutiny service trailer park in Powerstown Racecourse. Similar setup to what we had for our Forest Rally. Everything is kind of based in one area. And for anyone who does want more information, like I said, it's on their Facebook. But also, if you want to go through the Sportify app, the code is TIP22. That's T, 2 P's, and 22.
That's the job. They're actually great sport, and in fairness, the information you get from it, absolutely unbelievable. So good to see you are availing of that as well. Larry, thanks a million. Pleasure once again.
Spot on, Kevin.
And that's where we leave it on this edition of the Irish Rally Podcast. My thanks to SVS Productions for their kind sponsorship. Thanks to all our guests. Thanks to you, our listeners and viewers. And until next time, take care.